I chose two themes for my presentation. Both first-generation college graduate and succeeding in new culture are incredibly applicable to my interviewee. None of Kim's immediate family had attended college, but she received up to her master's degree. Additionally, Kim navigated life in a rural, predominantly white town with a Japanese immigrant mother and being half Japanese herself. Kim Bennett Nash grew up in Reedville, South Carolina, located in Spartanburg County. She attended public school all her life, attending No Preschool, Reedville Elementary School, D.R. Hill Middle School, James F. Burns High School, and Winthrop University for her undergraduate and master's degrees. Her K-12 grade schools were located in a rural area where students were mostly lower class with some middle class thrown into the mix. Kim participated in the Beta Club, Student Government, and French Club in high school, and participated in the Delta Zeta sorority at Winthrop University. Kim did not apply for any scholarships because she stated that it wasn't necessary back then and that college was much more affordable. Additionally, she had no idea that scholarships even existed for people other than athletes. Among the many people who influenced her in schools, she cites an elementary substitute, Mrs. Gray, who brought her books and instilled a love of reading, and a high school teacher, Miss Hudson, who inspired her to teach as major aspirations. Reedville Elementary School has changed drastically since Kim attended. The entire school has since been renovated and now has a 35% African-American demographic, compared to when it was first integrated when Kim was in 3rd grade and had only 2 African-American students. D.R. Hill Middle School has also changed drastically. Since integration while Kim was in 3rd grade, the school now has a black principal. Additionally, it is now a blue ribbon school, which contrasts greatly with its lack of achievement in Kim's time. James F. Burns High School has gone from a class of 250 in Kim's time to regularly having classes of 900 to 1,000 students graduating a year. Furthermore, the school has undergone several renovations to accommodate for the extra students. The school was built in 1955 and has undergone 10 renovations since. Established in 1886, Winthrop University is where Kim received her undergraduate and master's degrees. When Kim attended Winthrop, the school was primarily a college for teachers and had just recently begun to admit boys. The school since is still primarily women, who make up 55% of the students, with men being only 45%. Kim has noted that the school is much more concerned with social issues now than in the past. LGBT and race-centered protests, demonstrations, and clubs are now ample parts of Winthrop, all of which were unheard of when she attended the university. The school has also expanded from being almost entirely educationally based to now offering 45 different undergraduate degrees. Hideko Bennett described Kim as a very studious girl all her life who has always enjoyed learning. She spent most of her free time reading and had an incredible passion for books. Hideko remembers making sure to keep Kim in her then recently integrated 3rd grade class instead of transferring her like most of her friends' parents did. She stated that Kim absolutely loved going to school and always received positive comments from her teachers. Eileen Allen is Kim's first cousin who is a year older than her. She also attended Winthrop University and encouraged Kim to join Delta Zeta, and according to Kim, this was the only reason she joined. Eileen remarks that Kim always loved school and every aspect of learning. She conveyed that Kim was always looking for new opportunities to learn something. Additionally, she thought that the only reason Kim went to get her master's degree was because she wanted to spend more time as a student again. Kim is the first to attend college from her immediate family. Her father dropped out of high school to enlist in the Air Force and later got his GED. Her mother was educated in Japan and barely made it through high school. She had one member of her extended family who went to college, who was her uncle. She has 3 cousins who are on the same career as her of teaching, and their degrees range from bachelor's to PhDs. She received a bachelor's degree in special education in 4 years from Winthrop, and after 2 more years, she went back to receive her master's degree in education. It took her several years to finish her master's program, since she was teaching 1st grade while she was working on it. A major trend of education that occurred while Kim was in college was the integration of schools. Kim's elementary school was integrated in her 3rd grade, and according to her and her mother, there was no rioting or protests. Both attribute the peace to the fact that most people in the community were poor farmers and thus were on the same level as each other. Kim noticed that all throughout high school there were no races other than white in her honors classes, which displays a prominent achievement gap. Additionally, Kim had no students with any disabilities whatsoever mainstreamed into her K-12 grade classes. Furthermore, Kim said that she had never felt like she faced any disadvantage for being a woman, and that she had many opportunities as all the boys did in her schools. Kim mentioned several times that her parents allowed her to play where and when she wanted, and that she had free range to choose her interests. This goes along closely with LaRoe's Cultivated versus Natural Growth article. With ample natural growth, Kim became very involved in the activities that interest her and continued achieving through her master's degree. While Kim was in high school, the ACT was a fairly new test. There was a large discrepancy between middle and lower classes at her school, and most kids could not afford a shadow education like Bachman talks about. While Kim's family could afford to give her shadow education, they chose not to due to the vast majority of other students not receiving one. Kim's mother was not incredibly fluent English until Kim was nearing graduation from high school. Most of the time, Kim had to change their parents' campus. Both the Kim and Casey are
I still see the debate of natural versus cultivated growth going on today. I think it was much more common for children to have a natural growth in my mom's time, while I think cultivated growth is more popular now. My mom turned out very well with this sort of growth and used it almost exclusively to raise me and my brother. The concept of shadow education exists much more now than it did then. Most kids couldn't afford to take ACT prep classes in her school, so I think that weighed in heavily to the kind of achievement gap present in her high school. Having a mother who was an immigrant could have been really hard for her. Fortunately, Kim's family welcomed TDECO and helped a lot where she couldn't. It's still difficult for parents who aren't fully fluent in English or accustomed to American culture to be immersed in their child's education. She was presented with lots of social and cultural capital from her family. Kim also chose to go into education due to several Delta Zeta members' encouragement that it was a respectable profession for a lady, which ties closely to Alan's article about the notions of gender in society. Kim was heavily influenced to become a teacher because of the positive influence of teachers that she had. She also had a devout love of learning and reading early on, which also influenced her decision to become a teacher. While her parents did not receive college educations, they highly encouraged her to go to college because of a similar notion to Hochschild's American dream. Lastly, Kim spent a few summers babysitting a friend of the family's autistic son. This influenced her to get a degree in education for the emotionally disturbed. Like the Condition of Education article on children with disabilities, there were very few programs in this field during the time that Kim went to school for it. She notes that there are many different practices in how we speak and approach disability as compared to when she was educated on it.